Right. Hi everyone, my name is Charlie Thomas, I'm 15 years old and I'm a Year 11 student at Pinehurst School. Growing up by the coast, I have never been more than a 2-minute walk away from the ocean, and from a young age I developed a love and passion for pacing along the high tide mark, scavenging for rare shells and even the odd bird bone. The ocean fascinated me. From my house, I can look out at the Gulf, seeing Great Barrier Island on the horizon, and I can picture all the wondrous creatures that lurk between us. The incredible array of wildlife, the ever-changing sand dunes, revealing different treasures as they rolled back and forth over the years. I knew I was at home at the beach. My first passion, though, was for bugs. Creepy crawlies of all kinds, wetters in particular. I remember finding some friendly enough to crawl all over my face. I was even lucky enough to hold a giant wetter at Butterfly Creek once, though it did bite me. I still hold a personal record for 12 stick insects clinging to my face at once. After making my first huge discovery on the beach one day, a carpet shark egg, I found myself here at the museum, talking to Wilma Bloom and Tom Trinsky. Since then, I haven't stopped coming back. I've spent numerous days here doing something as small as feather sheets for a wax eye, or as large as dissecting and macerating an entire Antarctic fulmar. Alongside my days at the museum, I've attended an incredible program called MADMarine. As a shy, nerdy teenager who knew too much about bird skulls that should be considered normal, MAD encouraged me to be confident and open with my love and passion for the environment and share it with the people around me. I met some life-changing people who've helped me get to where I am now. I was given the extraordinary experience of spending the night on Little Barrier Island, a working weekend with a group of other dedicated and passionate environmentalists. The night walks brought Kiwis out from the dark. Glowing mushrooms could be seen along the path, and moorporks echoed our footsteps. I lay on the rocky shore with Mahina, the ranger's daughter, who was around the same age as me. And from the comfort of our solar-heated rock recliners, we watched and listened to the hundreds of petrels diving across the beams that stretched from the headlamps into the sky. Sitting there and looking out at the Gulf, the twinkles of mainland lights, and cruise ships passing by, I realized how important such a small island was. In the small amount of time I was there, I had a tuatara named after me, built a treehouse 10 meters above a river, found a chevron skink, and had a spark of passion lit inside of me, one for the seabirds of the Gulf. Then, on my first madcap, I met an amazing man by the name of Tim Lovegrove. Now he's somewhere around. Yes, there he is, and was given the opportunity to spend a day at Tawharanui with him. Within 10 minutes of getting there, I'd seen a team from Auckland Zoo tackle and then take a blood sample from a takahe and had a lengthy list of cool birds to be on the lookout for. My favourite part of the trip was when we walked out to the edge of a cliff and had lunch next to the petrel burrows. Overlooking the sea and with a perfect view of Hauturu, Little Barrier. Just as I thought my day couldn't get any better, he suggested that I join the banding surveying group that go out at night and see how many grey-faced petrels they can catch and how many of those has been banded or not. I jumped at the offer, and over a year later, you can still find me sitting on a cliff at Tawharanui with a wah-whoop tape playing in my lap and grey-faced petrels climbing over my feet. And as they do, one thing led to another, and soon I was spending even more of my nights sitting down at the beach at Tawharanui. This time, it was outside Little Blue Penguin burrows, helping a uni student out with a project of hers. This links in very nicely with what my main focus has been for the last few months, and that is penguin nesting boxes, 19 of them to be exact. From a small family activity one summer holiday to a project that I got my fellow Madsters involved with, it has drawn a lot of attention to the importance of the things as simple as nesting boxes. As someone with an extensive collection of bird skulls and bones, too many that pop up are those of little blues. Penguins are crossing ridiculous distances to find places to nest. Can you imagine living under a shed full of pig dogs? After trialling a few spots, we found a sheltered place just off the high tide mark that we called the Shire. the torrent of twisted tree roots provided the perfect places to put penguin boxes. We organized a day at the flagship building where we built around 16 penguin boxes out of entirely recycled materials. Some of the boxes even have a waterproofing layer that also absorbs carbon dioxide and other pollutant gases from the atmosphere. They were built in a day with a group of 30 dedicated MADsters and then shipped out to the barrier with 5 even more dedicated MADsters to set them in place. The spot that we had chosen is known to be inhabited by penguins. A box that we have had there for a few years successfully raised 2 chicks this year, so hopefully when they come back looking for a home, they will come wandering up the bank and stumble across the Shire. A couple of local girls joined us in GPS locating and digging in the last few boxes, and they told me about their local school, Mulberry Grove, and how a few years back they had made boxes to put around their school because it was right on the edge of the beach. Unfortunately, they were washed out in a storm a few months later, but the kids still had the passion. They still wanted to make a difference and be a part of the natural environment. In the future, I hope to do a workshop out on the barrier to get the locals back into it and give them something important to be proud of so that they know they're making a difference. Things as little as putting signs up, warning cars of penguins crossing roads, keeping cats indoors, and thinking twice before dropping plastic on the ground. What I've learned from the Gulf is how resilient it is and how much we have to learn from it. Even with the effects of pollution and the declining species, it still provides an almost fantasy world. The New Zealand storm petrel has been rediscovered, and you can go out onto the water any day and see a pod of over 200 dolphins. I grew up with my toes in the water, whether it was at a place on the barrier or in Red Beach. I was never too far from a nesting oyster catcher or a lone dotterel or a grey-faced petrel flying over my head. The life that the Hauraki Gulf holds has been an inspiration to me, and my hope is for it to inspire the rest of my generation as well. Thank you.